Welcome, all fellow wannabes. Welcome to the show. You are listening to the Wannabe Critic podcast. I am one of your hosts, Gabriel Fast. I'm your only host tonight, actually, but I do have a guest with me. I have a very special guest, one Nick Depalo himself. Nick, how are you feeling this evening?
Feeling great, man.
Yeah.
I'm here with you, and it's energy. We're still here, still pushing forward. So I'm doing fantastic. So thank you. I'm humbled.
Oh, I thought, dude, it goes the exact same way. I appreciate. We were kind of getting into the sentimental stuff even before the show. I was like, dude, thank you so much for taking your time to come on the show.
Yeah,
It means the world. You know, it was, yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna cry. I'm gonna hold it together. But for real, thank you for coming on the show. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Nick Depalo here is a one-man show. He is developing what I'm sure is gonna be one of the next hottest indie game. Like it has to be. Adam's Ascending drops November 2nd. It drops November 2nd, and I called you Adam. Nick.
I am the character, so it's fine.
No there worries. You go. Yeah, we're gonna let you talk about everything that you did on this game. We're gonna let you reveal all the nitty gritty, as much information as you can give away that you want to give away. I'm excited for us to get into it, and I think it's gonna be a good show. I'm excited for us to talk about a couple of news topics. Nothing huge, you know what I mean? Just a couple of things. That the wannabe had, just rolling around in his head. But I do have to ask, how have you been? How have things been for you?
I've been great in and out. I'm always, no pun intended. I'm definitely great all the time, no matter if I'm having an up day or down day, because I flip it and use it for the positive direction. But everything's good, just busy. I think I'm at the point where I could see I'm underneath the water. There's no like, oh, you're barely breathing. Like I'm underwater, but I'm like, I see the sunlight piercing through the top of the ocean here that I'm in. So I'm almost at a finish line. So I'm excited to get to this next season in my life, to get through this and start a new season. But looking forward, looking bright, and always inspiring. So everything's great, man. It's truly, I'm humbled to be alive. We're all here having a conversation through the power of the internet. Come on, man. There's nothing more amazing than that.
What more can you ask for? And I do have to say, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any hiccups, as usual, this is a Zoom show. Whenever COVID, if it ever goes away, this will exclusively usually be a Zoom show. That's just how it is. You know what I mean? And I feel like we have a pretty decent show for, we're always learning. We take our lumps. You know what I mean? Like, 4 or 5 months ago, you were listening to the show and being like, why can't I hear anyone else except for Gabe? Now we fixed it. We figured it out. You know what I mean? We worked through it together. So it's good times. But I'm glad to hear that you're doing good, Nick. I know you've been working on Adam's Ascending. I know you're raising two baby girls, right? How's that going?
Yeah, that's going. 2 twins that were born in March of this year. And then we have a 2-year-old. So I have three princesses, and trying to raise them in the ways of the gaming powers. So it's going well. They see a controller, they start reaching for it, like, yeah. So it's and they start gnawing on it. But yeah, it's a balance, and family life and relationship life with the wife, and trying to build a business and working at the same time. So it's definitely a balance game, but it's going good. Everybody's good, especially with COVID going on. It's like, I'm happy to be here and enjoying life all around. So, yeah,
that's good. That's good. That's one thing. That's one reason why I was so drawn to you, originally, because of course I saw you originally. You know what I mean? I'd seen you, not you, but your work at the Kind of Funny Game Showcase, and I remember Greg talking about how one guy did all this, and I was like, what now? Wait a minute, what? You know what I mean? It just didn't click for me. And then I started seeing your name popping up on Twitter, like so-and-so would retweet stuff and blah, 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 blah. I'd be seeing stuff. I'm like, oh, he seems a nice guy. I'll give him a follow. And then I don't remember what happened. At that point, I'm like, oh, well, this man, he's obviously internet famous. That's just kind of what we do as human beings. We kind of put people up on a pedestal. Yeah. And that's we're all just people. You know what I mean? And talking to you really helped me kind of realize that, man, this guy's just like a working stiff like the rest of us. You know what I mean? Like, he's just trying to take it one day at a time. And I think that's one reason why I wanted to have you on the show at some point, was because whenever you get in the same room, or figuratively in the same room as somebody who's aspiring to be something greater, and they have to take the exact same crap, you know what I mean, like throughout however long it takes, like you just continuously take more crap than you get victories, you know what I mean? Then whenever you savor those victories, you make those connections with those people and be like, okay, how can I give back in some way? And you very much strike me as that type of person that is always trying to make those connections and do those things, and just just a very gracious human being. So I'm glad that we were able to get you on the show, and I'm glad to hear that you're taking even your bad days and channeling that energy to do something positive. Like, that's amazing. That's exactly what I try and do. Like, Premiere, like you've quit on me like 10 times today. What's going on? How can I do this? All right, go take a walk, whatever. Look, I got my exercise for the day. There you go. Or my, in my case, since I'm a fatty, the exercise for the month. But yeah, man, it's nice to see your balancing act is kind of working out well for you. Now, you mentioned you have a business. I thought you worked for Amazon. Is that not a thing? Can you kind of go into that a little bit more?
Yeah, I do work for Amazon all day, every day, and then I started just a side. I call it edification side of a business. Just trying to, obviously, with the with the game itself, you have to go through the business loops to be able to even put a game up on Steam. So yeah, trying to use Adams Ascending as like the first step. And I know it's a rough first step, but at least it's a step towards hopefully one day owning who knows, a 300-person studio or something like that. And then, or even a 10-person studio or 3-person studio that's just like people who are passionate about making amazing products that inspire the world. So, but yeah, do work at amazing Amazon, doing some amazing stuff there. And then on the side for fun at night, late at night, just working at the game, chipping away, trying to build other skills to, continue to expand, in learning. We could always learn. That's one thing that never gets boring, learning.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I do believe that, as human beings, we were designed with an intent to have a desire to learn, and you're exactly right. Like, you'll never stop learning. It's like one of the greatest things ever. And it's cool. That's really cool to see you kind of taking that avenue and taking that opportunity to learn about business, because I was the exact same way. Like, it's so funny. Like, we're already making good connections right now. Like, this was meant to be. You know what I mean? Like, we were meant to be friends.
For sure.
With all this podcast and wannabe critic stuff, I started editing all these videos and doing all this stuff, and I always worked on music and did all this other stuff. So then, like, an opportunity came my way. Someone's like, "Hey, do you want to do? You want to be work for me and my boss, like making videos and doing what?" I'm like, "What do they do?" And they're like, "Oh, well, we do real estate." I'm like,
Man.
"Well, I don't know anything about it." I'm like, no, we'll give you all this stuff. All you have to do is just like figure out a creative way to post it and, make the stuff happen. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So, but I felt confident, in trying to like take that step because it just made sense. You know what I mean? It's little things like that. I think you're probably in the same mindset as me. Like, every step you take is probably bringing you closer to the thing that you're trying to achieve.
Absolutely. And it's like your scenario is amazing just for the case of, I've had this conversation. I'll let it start ripping, man. I've had this conversation before too of just, like you're doing something that involves an ability or a talent that you have that's maybe not exactly in this like perfect direction that we all envision. But the point is to do it. It's to start, is to begin the process, because you have no idea this real estate, for example, this real estate thing you're beginning is literally the first foundational building block to the bigger purpose that you don't even realize at the moment, that you don't even know where and why you're going in this direction. And in 5 years from now, you look back and be like, wow, I was even doing this and even having this conversation and doing that real estate thing to lead to this bigger thing.
Right.
Yeah, completely, I always harken back to Adams Ascending. It's like, I literally remember downloading Unity, the Unity engine, and going, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no clue. I don't know how to code. I don't know how to even open this program. Like, literally,
Yeah.
like, the most basic, like, don't even like, oh yeah, he works for Amazon, so he knows coding. Like, no, dude, think about just, I'm like you said, your average just like anybody else trying to learn and starting, but listening to that fire in your heart that's telling you, okay, I know this is leading to something. Even though I couldn't even see the
Right.
Kind of Funny showcase, which was still 3-4 years from the moment I started, but there was
Right.
something it was leading to, and that's what you have to always go after. You don't need to know exactly what you're doing. Sometimes you just need to know, I'm supposed to be doing this.
Right. Yeah. And I think, that's so beautiful. And ladies and gentlemen, I wasn't expecting it to go this deep this quick, but that's just how it goes sometimes. You know what I mean?
Hey,
Like, but
so
I'm right there with you. Like, there was just something that's like, I have this seem, if something in your mind is ever telling you this feels like a good idea, if you're like, if you are even just mildly intellectual, that's usually a pretty good thing to go after. You know what I mean? And it just makes sense. And it sounds like you're doing the exact same thing. So, but don't give it all away. I keep some of the cards hidden because I want to wait to the end of the show to showcase you. You know what I mean? Like, so, but we're put as a friend of mine, with the Age of Geek podcast. I'll give him a shout out. You got the grenade? Put a pin in it. We're not ready for the explosion yet. All right.
put it
So
right back in here, in my heart,
yeah,
ready for the fire.
right there. Keep it close.
Yeah.
Keep it quiet. Keep it safe. You know what I mean? Or I think that's what Gandalf said. I can't remember. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know already, as I said before, you're listening to the Wannabe Critic podcast. This is your weekly stop for diversity. It's your one-stop family-friendly-ish content shop. We do interviews like today. We go over, the weekly news. We have, bi-weekly reviews. It's actually turned... I schedule a lot of shows, Nick, and I always forget, like, we record bi-weekly as a group, but we have stuff coming out, like, every week. Like, we have a few shows coming out a week, which is insane, because I never thought that would happen.
Yeah.
But, here we are. So... we got a lot of different stuff. We got reviews, interviews, news, random topics. You got the Midnight Run. And then, if you head over to wannabecritic.com, we got some other projects there. I have my own personal YouTube channel where I like to talk about whatever I want because don't you dare tell me I have to focus on one thing. I want to talk about it all,
I'll
right?
tell you that, but no, it's okay.
Yeah, I will. I don't want to. I will talk about whatever I want to talk about, and I will enjoy it because it's my time, and that's what I want to do. So that's what you got to do. But go check that out, ladies and gentlemen. Today's show is sponsored, in fact, in part by PopCultUSA.com and that sweet, sweet Raise Energy. But I'll tell you more about that later. Please don't let me forget, Nick, because I want to make sure we give a proper spot to both sponsors. So.
Gotcha.
But enough about all that crap. All right, we got a couple of news things to talk about, a couple of semi-relevant topics that I wanted to just kind of dive into, just see what happens. The first things first, PS5s are out in the wild, Nick.
Yes.
PS5s are out in the wild. I'm gonna ask you a question. Over here at Chateau Wannabe Critic. Over here, we love video games. We love them all. We have the Xbox, we have the Nintendo Switch, and of course we have the PlayStation because I like to play single player games.
Yeah.
I like it all. Usually the box that has the most incentive is the one that I turn on. The box that gives me the most incentive to turn it on usually has to do with the things that it was designed for, which was to play video games.
Yeah.
And this entire past generation, it's been the PlayStation for me most of the time.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on this whole console debacle? Are you a PC guy exclusively? Are you a console guy? Like, where do you kind of fall?
So completely console guy. I know some PC people are like, what? Screw you, man. But no, I totally love them all. But I just literally grew up with a console plugged into a TV and just enjoying the amazing story experiences and just focused experiences that games give you. So yeah, completely console. I lean towards console. I'll play a PC game here and there. Start recently in the last couple of years because I'm building games now on a PC. So, but definitely, I'm ready for next gen. I'm like, I get so like this is my Super Bowl moment, and it's like once every 7 years. It's not.
Yes.
There's E3, which is like the playoffs every year, but it's like. Console launch is like you constantly get new news that pours in every week and so much exciting stuff and people just ripping each other apart and it's just fun, man. It's great.
Yeah, no, that's a really good way to put it. And on paper, is PC the better option? Usually, yeah, except you can't get PlayStation games. You can't get PlayStation games in the same way that you can get them on a PlayStation. And I see the merit. I see like, dude, just go to PC. Like, and I flip-flop, you know what I mean? Like I flip-flop. It's gonna come down to it one day. I already know, and I'm a hypocrite, and I'm a hypocrite and a coward. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I said like a week or so ago, whenever Tony Polanco is on the show, I said I will never buy a PC. That was stupid. That was stupid of me to say that, because inevitably, whenever my Xbox One X becomes obsolete, I can pay $500 for 4, 5, 6 years of, decent looking, really good looking games.
Yeah.
Or I can just shell out the extra few $100 and just buy like a PC and play those games on there anyways, and then also have my dope PS5 like ready to go. I can have the best of both worlds. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. If Steam comes to Xbox, I might just have to stick with the Xbox. I don't know. Quit asking, guys, okay? I don't know yet. Not that anyone's actually asking.
Crazy move. Yeah, there's a lot of the future is bright across the board for everyone, and I just think I think console really comes down to convenience for me personally. It's like, I just want to turn it on. I want to play a game. I don't want to worry about my freaking Windows icon popping up on my screen and everything crashing for no reason. And then I gotta, open settings and go. Like, I don't want to do that.
No, it defeats the purpose. Like, to me, I want, and people call me crazy, I want my tools to be tools and I want my toys to be toys. Like, I want the compartmentalization. I don't want them to touch.
Yeah.
And for me, there is no feeling that I get that I've played games on Steam. Like I have played Crosscode whenever I was first playing that. Played it on Steam. I've played other stuff on Steam. It is not the same as booting up a console and playing a game from a console. It's not. It is not. Booting up a game from a PC, there is no soul. Like, there isn't. It's like, it is literally, in this, I'm going to put it musician speak for you a little bit. I don't know if you're a musician, but you strike me as someone who might be. Okay, so you can go watch this dude like ripping on, but if he's just sitting there and like going through the motions and like not enjoying it, like, yeah, of course he's a shredder, like he sounds great. There's no emotion, like there's nothing there, and that's exactly what I felt. It's like, man, I really love Crosscode, or I really love Don't Starve. I really love these games. Wish maybe I need to go find if there's a console version of those, because it's just not the same for me. But, it's years and years of, like you said, getting the rush of like being surrounded in the hype and getting that constant drip of news and like being a part of the conversation and like people having the worst takes of all time and like refusing to see the other side. And it's just a constant,
man, come on.
Yeah, it is. It's great. I mean,
it really is now. It's crazy how gaming has become so similar. There's, especially because of Twitter now, it's become this like, you got your green side and your blue side now, and then you got your red side. It's like, and then your PC is, I don't know what color is, everything, but
they're neutral, straight up neutral.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing with the console is just like, even the interface is part of where with for me, PC, you drop out of a game, you're on your desktop, you're on your home screen. Like with a console, you're going to immersed in this hub, in this world of and even shutting off your console special and turning it on special and having that connection. And that's something that I think will never go away. Even when we go all digital, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, if they're all around, hopefully, they'll still release, even if it's a box the size of your phone, to have literally a physical thing, attached that you can connect tangible with and turn on and be like, ooh,
Yeah, exactly. I'm down with that. Honestly, I think you bring up really good points. And sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we got a little bit of some static from Nick on his end. I don't know, or maybe it's my internet. I don't know, but no worries. Hopefully it'll even out. But I get what you're saying. What'd you say?
Am I good now?
Yeah, you're pretty good. It like I said, we're in the boonies, we're farmers here, so it might filter, it might kind of be up and down, but we're just gonna try and make it happen the best we can.
Let's do it.
Yeah. But I get what you're saying, like just having that kind of that special feeling. Like I use the term like there's no soul with a PC. I stand by that. Like I don't think it's just not the same.
Yeah, there's something amazing about, like, I still have my PS1 in my closet, like literally over there. It's just sitting there, and there's something amazing about grabbing that and just looking at it and just like popping the tray and like just the spring pops up. It's just like, you're to that time playing, for me personally, like Metal Gear Solid, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's like and there's times where I just want to plug it back in and throw that game in. And with a PC, there's that you could still play your games 100%, but there's that detachment. That PC you played 15 years ago is probably in the trash somewhere, or maybe you have it saved somewhere, but
Right.
most of the time, you move on and you iterate or innovate and with your 3D card and so on, and memory and things like that. You just move on. Where I think consoles gives you that history lesson. You could literally physically look at the first PS1, first Xbox, and see a moment in time. Like, oh, those were those years, and these were these years, and these were this decade. It's like,
Totally.
yeah, I look at my PS4, and even though it's a PS3 and Xbox 360 game, but I just remember vividly, the remaster of Grand Theft Auto 5, and just being like, how that was just like a huge moment. Like, oh my god, I'm getting it. Everyone's like freaking out, getting it remastered and all that stuff. So it's like it's frozen in time, and I think it's great for history too, just to preserve those items.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you're talking about like another layer of sentimentality being added, whereas with a PC, you don't give a crap. Like does it run? It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it runs. Yeah, exactly. So.
Bless you.
I don't know that I've ever sneezed on a podcast, so see, I'll cut that out.
I bring the special out of people.
Yeah, there you go. All right, give me one sec. But it's nice to see. It's nice to see, the PS5 out in the wild. It's nice to see people with hands on. I've had great impressions, just from what I've seen so far.
Absolutely.
I tweeted something out today, like, this is a PS4 Pro 0.5. Like, it's people like, oh, next gen, like next gen's crazy. It's like, dude, next gen is literally barely better games than what we're getting now. Like, it's not for now. Like, it's not that different right now. In 3 years, it's gonna be completely different. But right now, it's not like whenever we jumped from, the PS2 to the PS3. You know what I mean? Where it was just like, whoa, like, have you seen Thunderhawk? Like, holy crap. It's not like that. It's
or Uncharted first time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like Uncharted. That's a great example. Yeah, exactly. But, it's nice to see that they're out in the wild. We're getting closer. It's going to be here.
It's crazy.
3 weeks? 2 weeks? 2.5 weeks?
We're all going to be booting up new systems to play our old games on, man. It's going to be fantastic.
No kidding. Well, I'm going to be playing I don't know what you're playing. I'm playing the new version of Destiny. Well, yeah, I'll be playing Miles Morales, swinging around, you know what I mean? Shooting out
looks gorgeous.
The webs.
Yeah.
It really does. It looks like it looks like they've innovated on everything I loved about the first Spider-Man game. Yeah. So, I'm excited. Like, it looks, I just can't wait. I'm excited for the cat. And this isn't a Spider-Man podcast, but I'm really excited for that game. So
you got to turn it into a Spider-Man podcast. You got to get the mask and start going all into it, man. Come on.
If we could get shirtless Spider-Man on the podcast, that could be a dream come true. You know what I mean?
Like, come on this podcast or ask shirtless Spider-Man to come on this podcast for, like, even if it's 5 minutes. And, swing.
Wait.
Greg should ask shirtless Spider-Man to swing to each different podcast, and then someone just edit all the podcasts together, and you're really seeing him swing from different cities to say and just represent. I think.
Yes, exactly. Wait, does Greg know shirtless Spider-Man?
I think they're friends. I think.
Seriously?
I thought they were friends. I think.
Huh.
I think just like Peter Parker takes shots of Spider-Man, I think Greg takes shots of shirtless Spider-Man. I think.
Oh,
that's kind of down low. Maybe I.
Yeah, I'll have to edit out this clip and send this to Greg and see if I can get any insider info, because, like I said, it would be awesome if we can get shirtless Spider-Man on the show. Like, we could make a specific segment just for him. So I'm just throwing it out there.
I think he should just swing by and come through and just make it happen. I think he especially with his kind of his next game coming out, so I think he should represent and market it and swing through other podcasts and I think so. I think it'd be a great marketing idea.
Yeah, I think it would too. I'm not gonna lie.
He's literally and then swing off the screen, and then swing into the next podcast.
That's an amazing idea. Like, why haven't you pitched this to Greg? You know
Greg,
what I mean?
Get on this guy, man. Get on shirtless Spider-Man and make him happen. Make him
Thank
work.
you.
Make him work
Thank
for
you.
that hairy chest. There you go.
Spoken from Nick Depalo himself. All right, let's enough of that. So so moving on from the PS5 stuff, the new console stuff, it's great. I'm excited, obviously, whatever. Nick,
Oh.
here's the deal.
Oh.
There is a slew of ignorance in this world nowadays. You know what I mean? Like it is running rampant. Like it really is. Like literally, I will scroll through Twitter and see some of this stuff. Like bad console takes is one thing, but sometimes I see stuff on Twitter and it just immediately gives me like a nosebleed, like an anime moment. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, what?
Yeah.
Come on. And I think this news is pertinent enough. You know what I'm talking about. Let's just get into it. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
For this?
Ready as I can be.
Okay.
Man.
Oh, also on camera, look at that Bush League gaming hat right there. Look how sexy that is.
I was gonna say, and a great sweater, I think, as well.
Yeah. This exactly the Super Nintendo Pop Cult shirt or the Pop Cult sweater. You know what I mean? And I'll talk after this story. We'll get into what the sponsors have hooked me up with. But
yes.
I got a couple tweets to read from you, and read for you. I'm gonna read this to you, right?
Let's do it.
I'm gonna read you two. Is a one tweet and then a follow-up tweet.
Let's go.
This is from Alex Hutchinson, and for those of you who don't know who Alex Hutchinson is, I will tell you momentarily. He says the real truth is the streamers should be paying the developers and publishers of the games they stream. They should be buying a license like any real business and paying for the content they use. This was a follow-up to another tweet he said. Streamers worried about getting their content pulled because they used music they didn't pay for should be more worried by the fact that they're streaming games they didn't pay for as well. It's all gone as soon as publishers decide to enforce it. What is going on? Please shed some light, Nick.
Yeah,
because I'm fired up.
There's both sides are 100% truths. This is the dilemma where it's like I'll go on the devil's advocate side first, where it's I think it really depends on, it's kind of like somebody makes a short film and uses sound effects from this film and like and audio and does voiceover dubbing and just like doing something fun in the backyard and makes it for his family or small group of friends, like whatever. You're probably not going to have the man come down on you in a sense. But then there are probably streamers who are big league, who are probably making those over six figures and more, who have tons of eyes, who are and I'm speaking from both sides, who are making money off of this product's content, and are gaining viewers even more because they're playing a specific game. Oh, I want to see this guy's take on this game. And I think, it's true. A developer they could turn on a switch and be like, just as Nintendo has, and then like, you can't show our content. And, so there is truth to that side where I think it depends on who's using it, I guess, is the right approach. And I'm probably wrong as well, because there's a lot of hot takes on it. And I could tell on your face already, you're already wanting to explode. But then there's the other side. And I've heard tons of, I'm sure you read all the comments and everything. There's tons of sides to it. Like he mentioned the music. A lot of YouTubers can't use specific music. And same thing, if you're showing, even on Facebook or Instagram, you're posting a movie clip or something, it'll get pulled. We get, you can't use this. You do not own the rights to this. And the studios have set that up to be able to enforce that. So yeah, there is there's some truth to it. And then there's the other side where it's, yes, there is free publicity. And, I think gamers are always seen we're always on this like other side of entertainment. We're on the world, even though games are mainstream and are the future, the world still considers it this kind of like side thing, the majority. And that is why we're still in the early stages of gaming, man. Even if it's been around for this long, this is just the beginning of it. And I think we probably won't be around, but in 100 years from now, it's going to become these corporate, they're already corporate, but it's going to become, YouTube didn't exist, whatever, so many years ago. And same thing with streaming. And so in the next 15, 20 years, what's going to be now we're going to, streaming content soon with Stadia, with Luna, with Game Pass, supposedly soon on all these devices, probably PlayStation at one point. It's like in the next 20 years, it's going to be just streaming your content from your console and pulling it. And the corporations are going to own the content even more, because I'm telling you, there's going to be no disc, and it's just going to be like you're pulling from the cloud to play your game. And then if you're streaming that, they could go chop, and they cut off that stream instantly. And just like they do in a multiplayer match, like, hey, you've been booted, you're hacking, like you're out. You have no control over that, even if you own the game. Oh, well, I'm doing this. And like, nope, you're out. It's like, once it goes all digital, which everyone loves, but that's the result. That's the consequence. That's what you're going to pay for by going more convenient. It's like they own more and you own less.
Right.
But yeah, I could go on and on. I always see both sides, and the fans are right.
Right. Well, and that's the thing too. If I can cut in just for a second, because
100%.
I'm not 100% on the other side. My thing is just the way that this was presented. I kind of get where he's coming from, but saying, okay, let's say I'm Ninja. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's take it a step further. I'm LeBron James. Okay? And Apple decides that they want to give me 2 pairs of Beats headphones. And then I show up to the NBA championship finals with Beats for the first time around my neck. And people are like, oh my freaking God, what is that? And he's like, oh, these are the new headphones, Beats by Dre, yada, yada, yada. What are hundreds of thousands of people about to go do?
Yeah, go buy the Beats or go.
They're going to go buy the Beats because their hero is wearing them. And that's what it comes back to me is how does it equate to being a bad thing whenever literally, okay, I could see making these streamers buy the games, regardless. Like, okay, don't send them the games for free. My thing is, if publishers, publishers, developers, whatever, if they're sending these influencers copies of these games for free to talk about the product, to say what they like about the product, to display the product, to showcase the product. I just feel like that's happening more and more, and we live in such an atmosphere and in a climate where that's kind of become the norm. Like, you send your product so that they can pimp it out to as many people as possible so that you can make money.
Yeah.
Like, I'm seeing there's a disconnect, and I just feel like this isn't 1995 anymore. This isn't 2005 anymore. Like, I feel like things are just rapidly progressing, and I do see a time where Skynet does own everything, right? And what you're saying, you're playing a thing or you're violating terms of service in some way, shape, or form, and they're like, okay, well, you're an idiot. We're chopping your stream off now or whatever, I just feel like there's so much money, so much revenue that is generated from all of this content for it to not make sense for these publishers and developers in the long run. And I haven't heard anyone else throwing a fit except for the guy who should have been partnering with streamers in the beginning so that, Stadia could succeed. But call me crazy.
Yeah. No, I think that's 100% accurate. And like I said, I'm trying to even think of a current situation, and I could be totally missing it at the moment, but I don't know of any like athlete or, race car driver or, going to whoever and saying, hey, I'm going to pay you to wear your Nikes or, or whatever.
Exactly. Right.
So it's a weird, but it's different. It's digital front, it's if you want to use a clip from a movie during a interview or a show, like you're paying for that. If you want to hear music from a clip and you're showing it on the news or something, you're paying for that most of the time. So it's I guess different situations cause different rules. And it's 100%. Yeah, if LeBron goes out wearing these headphones, people are like, I was. There has to be has to be a middle ground, I think, where I think sponsorship's one thing. Hopefully internet's not coming out seeing something here, but sponsorship's one thing, but I think then there's the other side of it where it's like you're being, let's say I didn't get anything sent to me and just playing the crud out of it, and I'm bringing in tons of viewers and I'm making tons of dough off of that. A company's going to go, well, we want a cut of that. Our product's helping you make money and generating revenue. We need a cut. And that's where I think the weird, and again, I'm not agreeing on one side or the other. I'm just stating there are two sides of the coin, and and I think it's all going to get worked out as we move forward. But I'm always, I come from a company that's all about customers, and I think it really does come down to, what does the customer want? If, what are you willing to pay for, or what is the company not willing to do and to give the customers what they want to continue to build their business? And I think there's the balancing act to that. And I know this individual he's a studio under the Stadia umbrella, but doesn't represent Stadia per se. But I think he's just seeing it through a business lens, which is fine, but the rest of the world doesn't see it that way. The rest of the world sees it as consumers, like, I want to play the game and stream it. I love streaming games. Like, even if I get 10 viewers, 100,000 viewers. But again, I think eventually it's going to be like, oh, this streamer's making, literally pouring in 50K a day from playing our new launch title, and everybody wants to see him play it. Like, hey, Jim Bob, we need, if you're these top tier streamers, and now like Ninja, for example, he's part of Hollywood agencies now. Like he has an agent, a high-end agent, like in Hollywood now. It's not like, this unknown. He's part of, I forgot the agency, but the point is, it's getting bigger, big league. And I think as those streamers get, those top tier streamers, it's going to trickle down to them first, and then down to the smaller streamers. But I think it is eventually going to happen.
So
it's weird, but I think.
And my thing is too, and this is where it comes into play. And you are making good points. You really are. Here's the thing, though. Does it fall on the person streaming the content or the person that's hosting the content that's being streamed? Because in my mind, say, don't go to the streamer who's making all the money, because Twitch is hosting their content, which I believe Twitch takes a portion of their money as well, if I'm not mistaken. I could be. I'm not Twitch famous.
Not entirely sure, but
I mean, isn't that the whole thing? Like, once you become a partner, like, they take X amount and you get X amount based off of not donations and stuff like that, but whatever Twitch revenue looks like. I mean, that's my thing. I just feel like saying, well, it's on the streamers, like, they're the ones that need to pay more. It's like, I already bought the freaking game. Like, what else do you want from me? Like, I'm making your product look good. You know what I mean? It's just, it's a funny thing. I just feel like that umbrella, it should fall more.
But what if you see it the other way? Hold on. What if you see it the other way? What if the product is making the streamer look good? See, there's the other side of it where it's like, oh, Ninja's playing strip Fortnite from Ninja. There is no Ninja. It's like, even though, yes, there is a Ninja, but you get what I'm saying. Fortnite.
You're right.
Fortnite made Ninja. Ninja helped make Fortnite as well. So it's this like partnership, weird balance. And I know I'm from Amazon. I don't speak for Twitch. I'm speaking for my own opinion and stuff, but I'm assuming down the line, if those rules start rolling out, just like in government, it's like, then it will roll out to Twitch and be like, hey, Twitch, you got to do this and this and this for these streamers, or, the hammer will come down on them and then you, and it's like, those are policies that eventually roll out that the world probably never sees, but it happens. But and that's what I'm saying. Like, gaming has created these entities now. YouTube, you could say, oh, this person's huge on YouTube. He's a YouTuber. What's the first word of that guy saying he's a YouTuber? It's like the platform and the games have made these people popular. And
it's true.
And I think that's where the different side, where movies are movies, but I get to the point where gamers, you got, it's totally like that. I think there's a balancing, and like Dr. Disrespect for, you know, I don't watch too much of his content or whatnot, but point is, it's like certain games has helped elevate him, and he has his own personality too, which adds, and it's both ways. Like when this guy plays the game,
it's
like
a two-way street.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's gonna have to meet halfway
Somewhere.
You know.
Yeah, well, you, I mean, you're talking about an industry of, you know, consistently since like 2011, I believe, like gaming has just exploded. You're talking about an industry that has made more than the music and film industry combined, well over the revenue. Like it makes way more money than both of those industries combined. And that's crazy to think about, you know, billions and billions. I mean, Fortnite 2 years ago made what was it, like $1.2 billion alone. It's just, I like seeing where it's going, because that means like people like you and I have a chance of working in this industry. And it's like sports. There's so many different branches, like you're talking about esports, or, you know, like professional gaming, whatever. You're talking about, you know, the influencers, the personalities, the podcasters, all this other stuff, you know, the developers. There's just so many different avenues to work in, and I love how it's exploding. And like I said, I get where the guy's coming from. It struck a nerve, not just with me, but with a lot of people, because of the way he approached it. It's like, if you're approaching it from a business perspective, then it does need to be the thing of maybe it needs to go both ways. Then, like, maybe the Twitch, you know, being a Twitch partner, Twitch affiliate, whatever, they should have to pay dividends. But the platform that's being hosted on, like, if Twitch is making $1 million off of these streamers, then how many? We're talking just about Ninja alone. How much money does Ninja make Twitch alone? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, if someone's out there listening, please figure it out, because I'm curious. Like, we have a great more, you know, and I don't want to harp on this for too long. It's just, it does spark interesting conversation whenever people have takes that I just don't like.
Well, it just shows too that I think the game industry is still very young, and as soon as someone throws something out there that's, you know, whether same thing, like before we used to hear about streaming, oh, streaming sucks, and da 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 da, you know, like you used to hear, oh, consoles are dead, you know, blah blah. Everyone's, you know, and consoles evolve, they're evolving now, and but you need to have these conversations, because and the internet's, you know, I really believe not just the internet, but Twitter in general is an echo chamber. You're gonna hear what you want to hear. You're gonna see what you want to see. It's literally gonna feed you the content that you already like most of the time, and continue to build that algorithm. So it's like you're gonna have a group, you know, somebody who does want to speak against it will probably be like, what? There's probably millions more who want to speak the opposite side of that and say, oh man, this dude's right. But they're like, dude, I'm like probably a drop in this ocean, and there's no point to have like all these people start attacking me or this guy or that guy. So most of the people that you probably, you know, there's probably a lot of people out there that didn't chime in on it because they're like, I don't want to deal with this wave of people throwing this hate out, go and like attack this other person. So they're just like, I'm good. But there are conversations that are great. And I think, you know, like they make, you know, I recently watching, I think, Easy Allies, and they're talking about, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Easy Allies, but they're great group of guys that came from Game Trailers a couple of years ago, started their own company. But, you know, they're recently going through like the last gen history leading up to this current gen. And they're talking about the former head of Xbox. There was this famous, I'll leave it at this. There's this famous quote, I'm paraphrasing, but he pretty much went along the lines of, you know, we're going to have an Xbox that's always on. This was the beginning of Xbox One's generation. And everybody went off like, what do you mean always on? He's like, and if you don't like it, you know, you can get a 360 if you want. And there's always going to be that.
I remember that.
Yeah. There's always going to be that thing that like just ekes you like, ugh. But those things help evolve what Xbox became now. So it's like those conversations need to be had, and, you know, management sees things and they're like, oh, okay, let's guide things this way now. So it's okay to have those arguments, and it's good. It's healthy. You know, it's just like a regular relationship. I go off on you, you go off, I want to strangle you, you know, but then later you're like, oh, I love you. So it's like, it's you grow that way. And I think Twitter needs to understand, it's like, whether you're left, you're right, you're blue, you're green, you're red. It's okay to have conversation. That's what this platform's built
Yeah,
for.
that's what it's for. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's like
And I try and attack it from both ways too. You know, a lot of times like, okay, and that's why I said I'm not 100% like, screw this guy. I'm not, because I see where he's coming from. I just think it could have been worded differently, and B, the mentality, I'm not like, oh, I want this guy, I want his family to die. I'm not like saying anything like that. You know what I mean? I have a very specific way that I like to be fed information. And whenever someone says something that appears to be ignorant and just totally out of touch with, the environment, and the climate of which they're saying, it's like, it's just being so out of touch of the platform that you're trying to speak to. It just blows my mind. You know what I mean? And it's just that's what I meant by it. But it is a fun conversation, and you bring out good points. It's good. I don't 100% lean one way or the other with this particular topic, but
I'm interested too, just like where did that, more than the conversations, like where did this come from? Like where did this tweet, what triggered, the tweet? That's what I want to know. It's like, was he watching something and being like, you know what? Or maybe a past game he worked on, like, we should be making $1 off that. Like, what the heck?
yeah. No, what happened was he saw streamers having a bunch of fun and making a freaking crap ton of money and being like, meh, 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 meh. That's exactly what happened. Like, I'll tell you, Nick.
Probably,
but we're done.
I understand the amount of work that goes into a game, and then you see someone who didn't do any of the work to build the game, but just sits back and gets to enjoy it and makes the money off of it. And you're probably like,
Yeah.
it's, but it helps bring, and that's the other argument. It's like, oh, it helps bring publicity to your product. And it's like Fall Guys.
That's true.
Not Fall Guys, Among Us, prime example. I don't even know who streamed it. I don't know who streamed it, but I'm sure someone streamed it, and then it went poof, and that game came out years ago, I heard. And
2 years ago.
I never even heard of it when it dropped 2 years ago or whatever. Never even, maybe I saw something and I was like,
right.
So it's that just proves power streaming.
I wish we had somebody like MC Fixer on right now to kind of give his side of this, because
now he's gonna drop in.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, "What's up, everybody?" That's a horrible British accent. I'm sorry if he's listening to this. But my thing is if streamers are making money off of the thing that they're promoting for you, have you ever seen what a streamer's schedule looks like?
Yes, if they're a full-time getting
it's
paid
crazy.
It's a crazy job.
It's insane. So to me, I'm like, you know what? If you are getting popular enough to where you're actually making money off of this thing, come on, man. You know what I mean? It's just, there's just a lot of things that go. But I don't want to spend forever talking about this. And I do want you to we can segue this, into something, more pertaining to Adam's Ascending, and I want to get to that. But before we do, what do you say we take just a micro break, because I've been drinking a lot of water lately and I got to pee.
Do your thing, man. Do your thing.
All right.
I got to get some ice. Hey.
Oh, and we are back, ladies and gentlemen. So good to be back. I'm so happy to be back. You know what I mean? Time to get to the last segment of the show, the last portion of the show. I've been talking for about an hour. I love it. I love it whenever this happens, whenever there's so much to talk about. It's just so good. I love having interesting guests on. It's the best. But before we get into Adam's Ascending, I do want to give a shout out to both the sponsors, Raise Energy. I don't know if you can see it. This is, I don't have any cans on me currently. I was hoping to get some in before this particular podcast, but recently got a sponsorship with Raise Energy. You can use my personal code, _wannabecritic, to get 15% off your entire order. If you go to repsports.com, that's reppsports.com. This is my favorite flavor so far. It's called Baja Lime. They kind of do, I don't want to compare them to G Fuel. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that, but it's a lot like that. It's a lot like that sweet energy. You just put it in some water, just stir it up, and you are like literally off to the races. It is amazing stuff. It's some of the best tasting energy drink that I've ever had. And I drink a lot of energy drinks. So definitely go check that out. Not tonight. I haven't drank a lot of energy drinks tonight, but I was just saying. Also, I got this dope Super Nintendo hoodie. I'm not going to turn around for you so you can see the back, but it's got a cool grid and a controller on the back. And I love it when Pop Cult sends me stuff, because they literally have video game stuff, music stuff, and beer stuff. That's the big three, Nick Depalo. That is the big three that I focus on in all my content. It's the same code. It's the same code to get 30% off your entire order. _wannabecritic. That's a great deal. Get this hoodie, 30% off. It's crazy. So, anyways, just had to, make sure I talked about all
I
that
mentioned
stuff.
it in the beginning of the show. I really love the hoodie.
Thank you. I
I wish I
appreciate
could
that.
like reach into the screen like this and like, and then put it
Just
on.
snatch it. Just
Yeah.
snatch it away. Yeah. No, that'd be insane. You'd be like a wizard at that point. That'd be crazy. What you could do though is you could buy one, use my code, and then if you tagged me, we could be like twinsies. You know what I mean? And people would be like, "Oh, Nick Depalo and the Wannabe Critic, like they must be friends." And then I'd be like, "Yeah, we're like best friends." But there you go. No, we're not best friends, but I do like Nick a
We're
lot.
friends for life now. So,
Yeah, friends for life now, for real. So Nick, I wanted to take a minute, or not, several minutes. I want you
it's fine.
to talk about Adam's Ascending. Talk about, you kind of dug into it a little bit at the beginning of the show. You didn't know anything about coding. You didn't know about, how to do anything gaming wise. You just played games, right? So walk us through that story. Walk us through the whole shebang. Don't
Okay.
skimp on any details. Just let it all out.
Okay. So rewind. I don't know how old I am. I'm playing, I think, Jedi Outcast, Jedi Knight back in the day. Star Wars fan. I think I was playing it on PC, and I think they had a game editor, and you could edit levels. And I was just doing it for fun. This was like way back. I don't even know how old I was. Yeah, I was a youngling for sure. Just not coding, but just building like a level editor and building like super square box levels and just loving the idea of building a story, my own Star Wars story in here, and then putting it up on their website, and people could download it and seeing like, oh, one person downloaded it, yeah, like, or whatnot. I think, just like we mentioned in the beginning of the show, you do something without knowing why you're doing it, but just knowing like, okay, I'm supposed to do this because it's what I know it's maybe doing something. I don't know what, but at the moment, you're just having fun. So I just started doing that, and then, just kept playing games for years and years and years. I think Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation 1 had a major impact for me in my life, like major, like like extreme, like so extreme to the point where my buddy had a PlayStation, played Metal Gear, saw that, was like, what is this? This is insane. It still feels like looked realistic when I saw it. Got into Metal Gear, which led me into just always played games, had a little editing experience there with Jedi Knight games. Not barely any editing experience. Played games for a very long time till I was in high school. Still played games, and just the thrill of what Metal Gear did for me, I guess, in storytelling, kind of led me down this like film industry path of like, okay, well, I don't know how to make games, but I love what Metal Gear did in the past for me, and I love the story, and I want to build my own stories. So kind of started doing short films with a buddy of mine, just like the video game stuff, just like super rough in the backyard filming, just editing, learning how to edit, learning to do this. And again, I'll tape it back to your real estate position that you recently are moved into, which doing this, I know I had game passion, putting the game creativity inside making films, did short films for a while, which led then to like more serious independent films, which then led to getting a couple of awards for some indie films, which then led to me and my buddy Joel, who lives in Seattle, me and my buddy Joel filming. We lived in Florida at the time, doing film production, which then led to doing some documentaries, serious documentaries with some athletes, which then led to working on productions with this big highlight because I was always a big fan of Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, the wrestler, the People's Champion. So that led to doing a workout video with him for Muscle and Fitness magazine, which was like just to look back and say, what the heck? Like, we were filming in our backyard doing like fight scenes, and now we're meeting Dwayne, like shaking his hand and being like, hey man, he's like, oh, love to work with you guys. Let's have some fun tonight and just film and cracking jokes and just like thinking about like, what, how, and doing that. And then that led to just wanting to go even to the next level and and this is all getting to games. You asked for the whole story. So, and I'm kind of paraphrasing everything, but then working on some film sets with some production with NBC and Stars, and did like season 2. I think there was 3 seasons of the show called Magic City, which had a huge, great cast. Some of the cast now are working on The Walking Dead, and getting to just meet few of those people, face to face, and it continued to break down the barrier of, okay, this thing that you think about can be real. Maybe not exactly how you envision sometimes, but you could get there. You just have to just never stop. And then that led to doing that content, which then one day there was this like shift in me that said, okay, I lived in Florida at the time, and I said, and games, and the whole time in the background, like playing hours and hours of games, loving games, doing it just for fun, loving game stories. And then just out of nowhere one day, I was like, I feel like I have to just stop the film stuff. Makes no sense, but I have to just shift gears and move to California. So me and my fiance at the time, we moved, packed our bags with nothing, moved out here, kind of gave everything up, because sometimes you got to just listen to what your soul's telling you and to trust and to go, and packed our bags. That was 2013. If you hear snoring, that's a pug in the background. So I'm not sure if you could hear snoring, but he's enjoying some sleep. Rocky, I threw a pen at him, and I threw a pen at him. He didn't even move. He was just like,
Oh,
but
I kind of just heard a little bit, but no,
okay. So
it adds to the ambiance of the show. So
beautiful.
please
That is
continue.
beautiful. I didn't hit him with the pen. I just threw a pen next to him, but he didn't wake up. So yeah, that was 2014. Packed my bags, moved to California, had nothing, like literally nothing. I tell the story all the time, like sleeping in sleeping bags. Barely had enough food. Buying like chicken breast and beans and making food all the time, chicken breast and beans. And at that stage, we had some savings. So we're like, me and my wife, or fiance at the time, we were just like, all right, well, we always had this drive to like build a company, always. I think 2013 mobile games, they're always exploding, but I was like, I always think about doing things small, and I'm like, well, maybe, I'll download some free software or something and start making a mobile game. I always love games. Maybe, this is not, maybe I knew this was like the next step, and why I felt like I was supposed to come out here. And so, yeah, downloaded a program called Stencil, which was super easy gaming engine, kind of like Game Maker, I think it's called, and started building a mobile game. I figured I'd start, like I said, super small and just go from there. And pretty much thought of the idea of, all right, let's take this film script that I made a couple of years prior and called The Initiative, and kind of like, let's make a small little mobile game out of it. And we had, I was living this, not that it was a bad thing. I was just having a dream of like, hey, we have some savings. Maybe we could get a mobile game out and it could bring in some revenue, and we could start, like that was the vision. Like we could start doing something. So built this mobile game. My wife had some Photoshop experience, so she was like doing some art, and then we built the mobile game, put it out there after like 3, 4, 5 months. It was fast turnaround time. I was just like, I want to try this, put it out there. It did okay. It did a couple like okay for our first mobile game, hit like 1,000 people download it, and trying to bring in revenue through sales, which was like revenue through like ads, which was like pretty bad idea. But it was an experiment, and we're like, whoa, okay, we did it. Let's build another one. But then at the same time, it's like, well, okay, well, we got to find some work too now. It's kind of getting a little tight. We tried this experiment. Thankfully, we both found some entry-level jobs and kept building the dream. And then I released another mobile game that did okay as well. And then I got to the point of like, wait, I grew up playing console games. Like I talk about going to school. Like I know the ins and outs of what makes a good game good. Like why am I trying to build a mobile game? Like, So in 2015, I think it was December of 2015. This time we were both working on the side, yeah, doing some small side jobs, and met a group of friends and pitched the idea of like, hey, I want to do this game of this character and da da da, which was the early concept of Adam's Ascending, and this group of individuals kind of joined in for a little bit. And then kind of, life got busy and here and there. And then I was just like on my own, and I was just like, all right, well, I'm not going to stop. I got to keep going. And the concept, that's when I was like, all right, let me download. Literally had like a dream, a physical dream of like downloading Unity. And I was like, all right, I think that's a sign. Like I need to download Unity's, going and going and going. And now, the idea was like, hey, it'll take place on one island and it'll be super small, but I'll be done in like a year and a half max. And it's been 5 years. So it's been 5 years, and
Right.
but 5 years of glory. Like I'm not some master coder. I don't know lines of code and what they mean entirely, but I understand, okay, this does this if I want this to happen. So I get the gist of it. So it's been 5 years of school. Like someone would go to college for 4 years and then try for a master's, in gaming or something. Like that's the way I see it. And, and it's biggest freaking lesson out of it all was just, I did 5 years and I still have tons of stuff I have to finish. And I've only been able to be like, all right, well, I'm going to just put out episode 1 in early access just to get feedback to start to see how it does. And I've learned a lot with business, just trying to do this for already so many years of just understanding like, God forbid, I hope the game does good, but it's also great to put it out there to say, okay, what needs, like, let's get it out there. I've had some feedback like, no, don't do it or wait, but I'm like, I can't spend another 3 years building something then you invest a decade and you're like, and you put it out there and the same results would have happened or greater results, who knows, but it's like, you can't risk that. And now it's getting to a point where, I have a family and it's like, just twin girls were born and I have a 2-year-old, and literally I've been finish work, eat, make dinner, put the kids to bed. And thank God for my wife. It's just like, hey, I need to work on the game for 4 hours tonight. I'll be there as soon as I finish. Yeah. It's been like that for like 5 years, so it's like, she understands the drive, and I guess I'm kind of going off track, but the point is like, that's kind of been the game. I'm skipping a few things, but that's kind of what brought me to Adam's Ascending right now. And I'm happy for what it is. And I'm happy for, for me, it's more about, I made a game. I'm so freaking happy now. The next one. Yeah.
Yeah. A game you're proud of, like something at the end of the day, like you can stand, like it's tangible, and it's like, yeah, hey, everything. And this is kind of what I want to shift to, man, my stinking allergies. I hope I don't sneeze. For the most part, correct me if I'm wrong, coding, story, voiceover, like everything in the game you did yourself.
Yeah. It's music by a super talented composer called, he goes by the name Volts Supreme. You can find him. Sometimes I post, I include him in my posts, but he came along, loved the idea, and wanted to just be like, man, I'm here to help. I love games. I love making music. This gives me an opportunity to make music. Let's do it. And he's been on boat for 2 years with me, 3 years, just like, what do you need, man? You need this, you need that? Like, I got you. He's in Australia. And voiceover, I would love. I've had some great individuals reach out to me, which I will include, soon. It's just more of like, my focus has been on building the game and trying to get that out there. So there's a couple individuals that want to help out with voiceover. So in the meantime, I've been like, all right, I got to do all the voiceover. There's some help. Our composer's done some of the VO for one of the characters in the game to kind of change it up. But, some, the assets in the game, some are built, some had people, share their amazing talents, to help out. And then some have been Unity is a great resource to reach out to the community and find stuff and to acquire some content to put into your game. So it's been a balancing act. But yeah, like I don't want to say from scratch because Unity is fantastic and it helps you, but this has been a lot of
Mostly.
fun. It's been
Yeah.
stress, but it's been fun too. To have
Yeah.
this opportunity.
Well, and it sounds like it, you know, and oh, my battery just died. I'm just going to switch cameras really fast. Now, you know, with Atoms Ascending, does anyone know what this game is about? Have you talked about it? What does Atoms Ascending mean? What is it? Run us through the story. Like, what is it about? How many episodes is there going to be? Like, kind of go down that route.
Yeah, the plan is to do 3 episodes. I'm assuming the first one, hopefully, depending if people really just like, is the game's all about explore, solve, and survive. So if the players really take their time to explore and try to solve things, I'm assuming the first episode could be 2 to 3 hours. I hope. Besides long load times that might add to that because I'm learning as I go. But and then 3 episodes, so hopefully 3, 6, 9 hours total, maybe. If I get to, I hope the game continues to grow and I get to that third 2 and 3 episodes after. But yeah, the stories has evolved. Which is amazing about games. It's not like a film where you make a story, you go shoot. It's like games evolve, gameplay evolves. Which is so beautiful. It really is art in living form. But yeah, the story is just about this kid named Adam who wants to ascend. Adam's ascending. That's it. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, a kid named Adam who, it's crazy because I wrote this before all this pandemic stuff, and it's about the world being in the midst of chaos, and this kid Adam, his father is a researcher, and he's come across 3 new elements that could solve humanity's diseases mentally and physically, and some things lead to some other things that open up some crazy dimensions to another time and space, and you kind of lose your father. So the game's about seeing this child who actually, the cool take of it, he's born with disabilities. So his father's on the hunt to create this healing property through these elements, which in the end kind of happened by mistake. So it's your journey of after your father is lost or is missing. It's the journey of Adam growing, being used by research labs and experimented on to try to find out how these healing properties were formed, and to use Adam to try to find his father to be able to finish the research, this corporation. So it's kind of the journey of Adam not stopping for anything to try to find his father. And it's kind of a parable story to what we all go through in life. We're all searching for that father, that missing thing. The father represents that thing that makes us whole. You could be physically whole, but you could still be missing something internally, spiritually, whatnot. And that's what the game represents. You end up, I know I'm going long-winded here, but end up on this in this dimension that revolves around 3 different sections: love, hope, and faith. And you kind of have to face the 3 pillars and 3 enemies that protect those 3 elements, which is fear, doubt, and disbelief. So you have to go through your journey in life to find your father through those barriers that we all experience in life. We all believe and have faith and have hope and have love to get somewhere, but there's always those 3 boss battles we all deal with.
Right, on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
It's not like you just beat it once and it's down. So
Exactly.
That's that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, and that's beautiful because you can take it out so many different ways. Like if you're a religious person, you can take it that way. If you're, you can look at it as, wow, I feel like I'm trying to be successful in this world, right?
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
there's all these things that are preventing me from doing so. That's an amazing concept. Like to think that you could take so many different avenues with just such a core basic idea. So you mentioned, early access. Is there any chance of it coming to Xbox anytime soon?
Yeah, the plan is hopefully I'm currently speaking with an individual who's at Xbox who's been absolutely been on this journey with me for the last year and a half. I remember sending him an early build and just asking like, hey, can we get this on the platform? And it was definitely rough a year ago, and it's getting there. So I think the goal is to bring it to Xbox. I've spoken to the team at Game Pass as well. I still have to resubmit a demo and things like that because I'm so busy. But I'm hoping, the goal would be to. I could only do one thing at a time. I want to bring it everywhere, to be honest. But I can only do one thing at a time. And at the moment, currently bringing it to PC, and there's this Xbox opportunity that's hopefully brewing up. And the goal would be finish this thing on PC and then polish it as much as possible and then turn that around and hopefully bring episode 1 at least to Xbox.
Yeah, right.
And go from there. Maybe it'll build a bigger audience potentially, but that's the goal / dream to get on the platform, to be on the E3
Right.
stage, man. That's gonna happen.
Yeah, totally. Go where the people are, right?
Yeah.
So now, Adam's just saying that's a pretty core idea. How many times, you're Mr. Positivity and like you're really upbuilding right now, and your tweets are always. I've never seen you say a negative thing or tweet a negative thing or be anything but gracious. But I know it's there because you're a human being.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
How many times, you talk about how your wife's supportive and all this stuff.
Yeah.
My wife's supportive too. Like I told her, like, there's been times where I'm like, listen, I want to do this, like in tears, telling her like, look, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And having her, knowing that you had chosen the right person because it's like, oh, okay, I see you're serious and I see you put in the work and like I believe in you.
Yeah.
How many times, realistically, and you don't have to go there if you don't want to, but how many dark times have there been? Like how many times have there been where you're like, I don't know if I can do this?
With the game or just like relationship?
Yeah, with the game. Sorry. Yeah, no, your wife hates you. Your wife hates you. You don't even just don't realize it yet. No.
So yeah, how many dark times have been with the game? Yeah, I think a lot for sure. There was a time where my fault, I didn't do a backup and trying to still learn Unity, and pretty much everything got wiped out. All this like progression that I had to do. I remember collapsing on the floor like in a ball like a kid and like crying pretty much and just being like, and then my wife embracing me and I'm just like, what the F am I doing this for? Like I try not to throw, foul language out, but it was just like, just like brewing. And I was just like, who am I doing this for? Like I'm killing myself. I'm sitting here hours working on this. I could focus on other things. And that was just like one moment, but there's, I think even a couple months ago, I had to update Unity and nothing worked. And I thought it was the end. I was just like, the game wouldn't even open. Like Unity wouldn't even open. And I was just, software wouldn't open, the game wouldn't open. And I was just like, dude, this is it. This is the end. Like I'm done. Like I'm this close to the finish line and I'm just going to be like, whatever, it didn't work. And there's times where, now because I'm kind of over the hump, I'm just like, oh man, now it's just fixing things and making things look prettier and trying to make everything work. But there was times where, I've asked myself, why the heck? Like, why am I, I've gotten a couple white hairs and I know it's not from age. Like I'm really good at staying positive. Like I know it's like my stress has come from this game and I'm just like, why am I doing this? But then there's those moments of sunlight that things just line up and I'm like, oh, let me build a trailer because I want to put a trailer out there. And then Kind of Funny Showcase thing starts happening. I'm like, oh, let me try to submit the trailer. And this is starting to happen. And little things like that kind of like, snowball and give you some like, oh, this is what 3 years of hell was for. Thanks, Greg and team and everybody. It means, and I always say in every podcast, maybe they'll never see this, but thank you for giving me some energy. Thank you for giving me some drive to move. And there's been hell moments. I could keep going and going. And, but I say in those hell moments, there's always, like I said, there's always that positivity. Like there's moments I remember so vividly that it's just like wanting to just throw it all away. And there's still moments where I'm just like, what am I like? This is probably trash. Like even today, I'm playing it earlier and just like, man, dude, people are gonna see this and be like, look at this garbage. Like, why am I like, I'm such an amateur trying to do this? But then I tell myself like, well, that's the point. Like, be the person who hopefully raises up a new generation. Like, yeah, you could do this too, even if it's not perfect, but you could start, you could build something. And that's, I have to listen to that voice. And there's those little moments that shine through. And I'll say another thing. Yeah, you have to hold on to those sunshine moments, because I remember coming across Tim Geddes at an event, and he probably doesn't even remember, but he looked straight into my eyes and he said, "You don't stop." He's like, "You do not stop, dude." He's like, "You got this. Do not stop. This is going to be great. It's going to be huge," or along those lines. And you remember that for like those times I'm like this. I'm like, all right, this is somebody who knows the industry, who I hope is not just pulling my leg, but I am just like, all right, maybe there is something here. And that's the point. You got to go. You got to go, because it could lead to the next thing. If there was no Atoms Ascending, there might be no whatever next big thing that might happen down the line would be. And
I love that I have someone on the show that's a talker, and that is, you're Italian, right?
Yeah, I talk too much, so
that explains it. There you go. I love it. I'm just a loudmouth
like,
white guy, but you're an Italian.
Bit,
no, I totally get it. But it's interesting you say all that, because I see you as a person. We talk about crunch culture, in the games industry. We talk about whatever, which I'm honestly, I'm kind of sick of hearing about that, honestly, because every industry has crunch culture. Gaming, why are we making a big deal about video games? I don't understand. But it's there. I see you in the future as someone I'm not in the industry, but I see you as the person that's like, okay, look, I made Atoms Ascending, and it took me X amount of years, and I made it happen, and I had some level of success with it. I see you on the control center, whenever the people that are working hard on their games, and you being part of a studio and like working with all these people, and people being like, oh my God, like we're never gonna get this thing done, and you looking into their eyes and saying,
yeah,
listen here, man, do not stop.
Yeah.
Do not make excuses, because that was the exact same stuff that you had to tell yourself. I don't make games, but I sit here every single night until 2 or 3 in the morning, and I say, do not freaking stop.
Yeah.
You do not stop.
Absolutely.
And you just stay gracious. You stay humble. You know what I mean? And you can pass that along to somebody else and give them an incentive to work hard. Obviously there's balance, you know what I mean? Like there's balance in everything. It needs to be there. You need accountability. You need your wife being like, dude, you have worked every single freaking night for the past 2 weeks. Come in here and watch TV with me, or do something with me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and you have kids, you know what I mean? Like, there's just all these different layers. I'm speaking from my personal experience, but it's so nice to hear you like talk about and just be real and say, yeah, there's been a bunch of times where I'm like, why am I even freaking doing this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it all comes back to the thing of that I truly believe in. It has to be for you first.
Yeah, 100%.
It has to be, because if you, at the end of the day, I look at my stuff, my podcasts and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I want to change this. I want to make this look better. And then you're never content. You always want to make it look and sound better. That's just a fact. Like you should make it. You should never be content with it ever. Yeah. And I truly believe that, because I think pushing yourself to that next level, kind of like what you're saying, you never know who's going to see it. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But the fact that you have such a positive outlook and you acknowledge the sunshine, so to speak, and you're like, you know what? Maybe one day it's like, you know what? I'm having a hard day today with the game. It feels like, oh, well, this is trash, this is garbage, whatever. But 2 weeks ago, I was running around like just kind of being like, I freaking made this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's how I would feel. But, or maybe it's the other thing of you're having a hard day and you're like, you know what? Tim Geddes believes in me, so maybe that has to mean something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's funny because recently too, I keep telling myself, it's like, dude, even if I had 4 more years, which I wouldn't want to invest in 2, but or let's say a year, you're still not going to be satisfied. So that's why I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, it is what it is, and even AAA companies say even when a game's out, it's never finished, and that's a fact, especially with games, because there are always some little thing that picks away at you. So I appreciate that, man. I honestly internally, that's something that brews in me 100%, is to one day lead some type of studio or lead a group of people to get over finish lines, and or to at least, even if it's all of this, to understand what it takes to make a game, to one day be on the other side, to bring in other indie devs to a platform, like to be able to say, hey, I've been there, I understand what it takes, wow, holy cow, you've done this with this, you're in, like, so I think
Right.
you need that you can't be a suit too, being like, oh, this is not going to be good for marketing, like you
Yeah.
need that,
Right.
but you need the understanding too, the people who've been
Yeah.
in the trenches, taking the bullets and the mud and the
Yeah.
blood, and
Has
put
been someone who's
direction.
been through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows what it's like. And it's like, oh my God. They can look at your work from a year ago and be like, holy crap, you went from that to this. Yeah, you're hired. You don't make me regret this. I do
Yeah.
think there's a level of, listen, there's a million other people out there who want this job. Prove to me why you want it.
Yeah,
Why are you any different than anybody else? And it's like, well,
and you
here's
said it
why.
in the beginning, man, we're all the same. Doesn't matter.
All the same.
When I met Dwayne, when I did the film stuff, I realized vividly that I'm like, there is no difference from doing a short film in your backyard besides budget and your crew, but it's the same process. So we're literally all the same. Everyone has the same. There, I'm starting to understand too. Everybody has talent, but what's even better than talent is dedication. Dedication totally outperforms. There's here and there. Talent could get you a long way, but if NBA player, LeBron James, whoever, Kobe, it's like you need to add dedication to your talent, or it's
It's a
not.
combination. Yeah, it's a combination of talent, dedication, and humility.
Yeah, 100%. Those are.
Like it's like this trifecta of success. If you can equally balance all three, you'll never fail. It's impossible. Like it's literally
Yeah,
impossible.
you just got to keep going.
You just
100
got to keep going. That's exactly
100%.
right.
And I'll speak to that even. I don't know. They encourage people who are chasing a career, or maybe you're not even in games, or just trying. Like I work at an amazing company, and I have an amazing position, and I'm I don't see myself as anything crazy. I see myself as just like what you said. It's like, you be patient. I was sleeping in a sleeping bag when I moved to California with no money. And you just have to just be patient. And I think that's huge for people to understand, whether it's career growth, whether it's your position you're in, just be patient. It will lead to the next thing, and it leads to the next thing, and you'll have your break.
Yeah.
It's impossible that doesn't happen. You just have to wait.
Right.
It's just like, and when it gets the hardest, that means you're right there. You're literally at the verge of it happening. And that's a great indicator. It's like, how bad are you sweating blood? That means you're about
Yep.
to win. Like,
Yep. It has to be.
Yeah, it is. It is. I've witnessed it, man. Like, I've literally witnessed it. Like, in tears, like, what am I doing? And then the break happens with a career or a job, or it's like
something.
Yeah. So it's there, but
yeah.
That
was an amazing digression. I loved that. That was really nice.
Man.
I'm glad we went there. And it's amazing. You would not be on this podcast had it not be for been for video games. You would not
I would never
have had these experiences. You would have not have done any of this had it not been for games, which is crazy to me. It is insane. I live in the Midwest, and people, and that was another thing I was going to ask, Cliff Notes version, but I live in an area where I'm busting my hump doing all this stuff, and people don't get it here. Like my friends do, like they see it, they're supportive, and it's great, And the people who are supportive are the ones who are on the show, and who want to be a part of it because they get it. But everyone else, it's like, even whenever I first married my wife, it was kind of getting her, like we didn't live in the same house, before marriage, like, so kind of getting her acclimated to like what I like to do and stuff, and just getting lucky basically with her being like, oh yeah, this is awesome. Like, you love doing this. You're good at this. Great. Yeah, do it. It was an amazing experience, but people here don't get it.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating. And you can lead a cow to water, but you can't make it drink. That's a farmer analogy for you. That is my profession.
I grew up in the sticks in Connecticut, man. Like, that's where I come from. So,
well, there you go. So really briefly, I just wanted to ask, have you gotten any, you're in a climate where it's very widely accepted, a wide variety of ideologies are accepted where you're at, it's kind of like, hey man, you pursue what you want to do. whatever you know are going for, go for it. Have you had any pushback? I would assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, I would assume the biggest pushback you might have had at any point in time would be other competition. Has there been any like outside influence kind of like discouraging you from doing this? I mean,
The game itself, or like the message behind
yeah,
the game?
just the amount just the amount of time you spend working on this thing.
Um, Let me think, man. It's I think besides, I'm trying to think through my snoring pug, but besides, yeah, just putting the time in, I think I've had a couple people that have come up, or a person or two, it's like, oh, you shouldn't lean into this message, or you shouldn't do that, which is understandable. It's feedback. But yeah, I haven't, I'm really trying to think of somebody or anything that was like, what are you wasting your time for with that? I think I've done it for, so I'm 30, turning 30. I think I'm turning 35 in February. So it's like, I think the people around me have seen me just always be like, I'm doing this, and I've already gone through the phase of people like, you're not thinking, man. What are you doing? Like, you're wasting your time. And I think those people have seen the end of it and go, oh, okay. When he goes to say so, it happens. Like, let me stop
Right.
telling him not to do this or not to do that or not to move here or not to do. And it's like, I think that's another thing. You have to just go past all that noise and know, no. So sorry, man. This dog, I can't even.
I'm hearing it more now. He's really getting after. He's chasing the Badgers. What's happening? That's encouraging though to hear, because I'm very much the same way. Whenever I was a teenager, it was the same type of thing of I would say I would do something, but I wouldn't follow through all the way. I'd start it, but I would never finish it. And then, it started becoming that thing of, oh, well, Gabe said he's going to do this thing, but he never finishes a
Yeah,
project, And then at some point in time, it might have been after I lived in New York for a while and did volunteer work, but
I'm still.
it might have been, no, that's fine. You got to take care of your dog. I know you can hear me. Um, it turned into that thing of like, whenever I got back and I started actually taking projects more seriously, uh, it there was like a switch that flipped, and then it was been really the past 2-3 years where it's been like, no, I'm doing this thing. This is what I want
Yeah,
to do,
have to.
and it's like it turned to this thing of too, like, I don't want to be around people who aren't going to be supportive anyways. So, I agree with what you say about pushing past the noise. I was just genuinely curious what the climate looked like out there, other than smoggy.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
They're in fires.
but
Um,
yeah,
no, and I think you nailed it. You have to know, dude, in the end, you're going to be hopefully 120 years old one day, right? And all that matters in the end is like what you did. And with you, your family, those close to you, like that's all that matters, because it doesn't matter how much fame or whatever comes your way. It's like 100% it disappears unless you've done something huge that's changed the world. But most of the time it still will fade. And just do you, and like, I have
yeah,
no doubt, man, like, I think I came across you through Mike Doherty, but just your positivity, your energy, your drive, consistent, warrior to get things done and get things put out there, like that pays off. You're going to be on the other end of, you already are, but you're going to continue to grow and get to the other side even more. So don't, like, you always have to think 10 years from now. Like, don't think about, oh man, I hope in 6 months or in month, like that stuff comes. Like, just think 10 years from now. Okay, if I stay consistent at this,
right.
if I film a short film in my backyard, I'll eventually be doing a film, and then a documentary, and then working with athletes, and then like, and that was like an 8-9 year span for me. That wasn't like 1 year, So,
Right.
and that's the same journey I'm on now. It's like, 5 years with the game, even though it's my one game, it's been 5 years, but it's like that starts stacking. And the game industry is super small. Like, it is absolutely like, it's funny. I've gone to a couple events out here. It's like, you'll know somebody, and then you'll see them again, and then you're like, oh,
Yeah.
it's like, it's a small herd of people. Twitter makes it seem very vast, but it's like,
Well, I think there's also inherently a lot of people that have semi big audiences that really aren't a part of the industry, quote unquote, but they
mm,
really want to be. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But hey, we're all just wannabes, so that's okay. I think there's also there's the industry, and then there's the industry of the people who follow the industry. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah,
almost feel like that group of people is bigger. That's a lot of what
yeah.
we see on Twitter. You're not, so. But I appreciate you saying all that positive stuff, man. That's awesome. That's the kind of positivity I need in my life. You know what I mean?
Keep
And that's
jamming
why.
out. Keep jamming out the music, man. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm working on a promo video right now that I shot myself and that I get to do the music for. So it's like, what more? It's like dream job. Like, what more
It's
could you
awesome.
want? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
mix them together.
yeah, it's great. And then you can sell it. It's like, hey, I can give you a song that only you will have, only you. You know what I
Exclusive.
mean? Yeah,
Exclusive.
exactly.
That's
Exclusive.
awesome.
So,
No,
well, Nick, I wanted to thank you again for, I feel like that we could talk for hours and hours. And we've already talked for a couple hours about just random stuff, and it's been a really awesome conversation. I love having people on that can just talk and talk and talk. It's the best. I love having people on who aren't afraid to step on the host's toes, because that's my biggest pet peeve is when people come on the show and they're like, "Oh my god, like I'm so sorry." It's like, dude, no, listen,
Italian, man.
I will bulldoze you if you don't get your word in, and like that's why I invited you here. But I'm an idiot. Like I'm like JoJo the idiot circus boy with a pretty new pet. You know what I mean? Like, just how it goes. But I appreciate you giving your time and giving us some details about Adams Ascending and kind of like the whole process of that and like what that looks like. And November 2nd is going to be here very soon. And I cannot wait to see what people are saying on the internet about it. I can't wait to see some videos. I'm sad I wasn't able to get my computer set up to where stupid Mac, like it's
I'll help you
frustrating.
through that
I'm
process.
probably going to
I
get,
just haven't had time to breathe, but I'll help you through that process. You should be able to do
yeah.
it. And
Yeah, it was really weird. We'll talk more about it after the
yeah,
show, but um, yeah, I'm hopefully looking at maybe at the end of next year, maybe building just like a Mac Daddy PC just to have anyways to play Xbox games
yeah.
on. We'll just see what happens, but let us know, where can people find you? Where can they keep up with information about the game? Where can they keep in the loop? Like, let us know to
Yeah,
say it
I
all.
think on Twitter you'd find me at Depalo, Depalo. And then on Instagram it's going to be Nick underscore Depalo, Depalo. But yeah, I'm always posting updates there, and feel free anytime you or anyone to ask any questions. I'm always open. And hopefully the game does good. Whether it's absolutely negative, that's a positive because I'm getting feedback to grow. And if it's a
Right.
positive, I'll find a negative to kind of make it better as well. So yeah, thank you. I hope I don't have any you know uh, barriers trying to submit it to Steam and it gets released on November 2nd. But hey, man, that's the solo indie dev journey. So I'm literally working on it to the last minute and trying to get as much as I can in there before I submit it. So thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for having me. And always feel free to throw any questions my way, anything, even if they're super deep or super wide. I'm here to try to answer and to filter through everything. So thank you, man.
Well,
I appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. No, thank you for coming on again, and yeah, definitely go check out all of Nick's stuff. Go check out Adams Ascending on Twitter. Just go keep up with it, because I
Yeah,
can
you can check it out
feel.
obviously on Steam. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah,
Steam. Go to
no, it's okay. Yeah, on Steam,
wish
that's the
list
only
it on
place.
Steam.
Yeah, wish
Adam's
listed on Steam. Adams Ascending. He did that promo video where you were drinking the champagne. It was pretty hilarious.
yeah, kept that going, man.
I know, man. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but I feel like this game's gonna do just wonders for your career. So I wish you nothing but the
Hope
best.
so,
I can't
man.
wait to have you on. I can't wait to have you back on after the game's been out for a while, and we can talk about it
Yes,
a little bit more.
that's gonna
Hopefully, I've had my hands on it by that time. We can do. Oh my God, you need to come on Game Club and talk about Adams Ascending.
let's go, man. You just let me know.
Genius idea. Stay tuned. Stay freaking tuned and stay freaking hyped, ladies and gentlemen, because it's gonna happen. It's 12:30 a.m. here, and I'm not even gonna sleep because I'm gonna be thinking about this idea the rest of the night. It's just because that's just how I am. But it's all right. Unfortunately, though, I am gonna have to wrap it up. There were things I feel like pretty much everything that I wanted to know pretty much got covered, and maybe and a lot more. So,
Hope so.
again, thank you. Nick, thank you so much. Make sure you tell your wife thank you as well for giving, of your time. And listeners, thank you so much for tuning in and, continuing to make this show a good time. I really appreciate it. Make sure you go check out popcultusa.com as well as Raise Energy. The codes are _wannabe critic for both of those products. You get a sweet discount on all of it. Check out wannabecritic.com to see all the various stuff that we have. It's been a good show. So thank you for stopping by. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for preparing yourselves for a plethora of hot takes and potentially unpopular opinions. I'm Gabriel Fast. I will always be the wannabe critic. Say goodbye, Nick.
Bye-bye. Check me out. Depalo at Twitter. Thank you. And go inspire the world. That's it. That's all I'll say.